What an opportunity.
I can't believe she's missed that. That is such a glaring chance.
All a bit too easy from an Arsenal perspective to let that happen. Lyon on the front foot again. Here is Johannes. Delivers a ball towards the back post. Lyonnes gets to it but can't direct it on target.
Well, Demore's first touch could have been an assist, should have been an assist. Hegerberg, the only question is, was Hegerberg slightly offside? Would she have been flagged? And the answer is correct. Yes, she would have been flagged. The goal wouldn't have stood. But that is an early wake-up call for Arsenal. Katie McCabe down Arsenal's left side with Demore back in the starting lineup.
Standing leg there. Being played in bright sunshine. Yes, we do have VAR, thankfully.
No long hair tied back, sorry. I was just noticing there, Robin.
Please, doesn't have another hair incident. Yes, Anna Hegerberg is not at the peak of her powers. She's 30 years old, but she had such a long time out with an ACL injury, nearly 2 years. She was in imperious form before that, the best in the world. On the first edition of the Ballon d'Or women's game.
Yeah, iconic in a lot of ways. You know, she stood for the betterment of her national team. She stood down, did not play for a national team for a number of years, missed out on national team opportunities and tournaments to make her stand for, to make the future better. So in many ways, and many titles on, she is absolutely a superstar of the women's game.
That's really good running. Insidious onto that. She will stretch the defence. That's what she does best. Slip through. Turn towards Caitlin Ford. I think Engen was looking for the offside flag, which didn't come.
No, it wasn't offside, and it hasn't gone beyond the byline. Too many goal line near misses for Engen after that first leg, but it certainly didn't go beyond the baseline. Excellent play from Blackstenius, the way she moved into that channel down the left-hand side, drag out a defender, create space down the middle. And with Smith starting on the left and Ford on the right, they're looking to cut into that channel.
Well, Arsenal tended to opt for low deliveries against Lyon's side, who have significant height. But this time, McCabe towards the back post, Woman Moy, and Kim Little turned it towards goal. I think the whistle has gone. There might have been an infringement on the goalkeeper.
Well, Endless certainly hit the deck, and it's Kim Little who has got the job of pinning the goalkeeper. She keeps her arms down. I'm not sure there's too much in that. In fact, it's her own player, Salma Basha. There's no foul at all on that. It drops to Kim Little. And it's Salma Basha who provides the block. Goal line clearance.
Pressing high. Williamson's ball. Nearly finds Olivia Smith. Boy. Might get the contact she wanted in the first instance, but showed trademark composure.
Aerial ball for defenders, goalkeepers. Arsenal have got some right in their eyes in this first half. That's the reason why Woman Moy took that down clumsily.
Fabulous ball to Basha, keeps it in. On the retreat, Emily Fox, who has the pace.
Yeah, Emily Fox was exceptional in that first leg last weekend. Probably my player of the match. up and down that right hand side, both defensively, offensively. She's got a match today up against Alma Basha.
Basha's delivery, it's met and it's there! Lindsay Heaps, rising highest. Well, she thinks she scored. It looks like it's going to be chalked off.
I think it's consistently put the flag up. As the ball had swung out and in from the corner from Basha. I mean, the referee's just given one for Endler being pinned, a foul on the referee. Yeah, I think Engen wants a header by Lindsay Heaps. His goal side is Engen, who's blocking Van Domslaar in goal, in an offside position, interfering therefore with play. VAR is not going to help Hegberg. She absolutely is interfering as a former goalkeeper. She's in clear line of sight. It affects the position the goalkeeper makes. So I expect to see this ruled out for offside on Engen.
Don't have to be to touch the ball to interfere.
But I think what Arsenal will be looking at, you know, we expect it to be cleared off, to be chalked off this goal. But it was a free header for Lindsay Heaps, back post. Dumornay got him once, and Hegberg should have had the definitive touch. And from that same side, Lindsay Heaps got up an uncontested header. It was an excellent header. She rose beautifully, was really strong, had a defender either side of her, but powered up and powered home. Something that Arsenal pride themselves on is to be strong in set pieces, not to give up easy goals. I'll tell you what, this shows you how Lyon are approaching this game.
Offside is the decision. So Arsenal breathes a sigh of relief. As you say, a couple of very early warnings, big ones for Arsenal. It was a great delivery, wasn't it? And Heaps almost forced herself into the right position.
With the two players who come in from the first leg to start, Salma Basha, who provided that corner, Lindsay Heaps to head home, and it was Dumornay down the right to provide the cross for Hegberg. You can see why Lyon have brought those two players back in, already made an immediate impact.
Kept in and at no cost so far from Endler. They kept Dumornay's injury and the details of it very quiet, understandably. Missed 4, straight into the starting lineup for their most important game of the season so far. So really I've no idea how fit she actually is, but clearly worth the risk. She looks pretty sharp. First viewing here.
Yeah, she's clearly injury free, it's just a matter of how long she'll last on the pitch. Caldente for Arsenal is not got the match at all. He just noticed there the first touches, but this replay just shows you the run that Lindsay Heaps makes. The head is incredible, but you see clearly Engen's offside.
Ford. Nearly the perfect through ball, but it was red, and now Lyon will try and break. Johannes bypassing Caldente with ease. And now Diani trying to go round the outside. The pullback is really well defended by Fox. Deep corner.
But not too many people straight on Katie McCabe to get off the ball, and that's exactly what Dumornay did. She realised that it was a head-to-head. She got to the byline. Just, you'll see it, a little shove on Katie McCabe, sets her off balance and creates that space for Dumornay to be able to get that ball across. Really causing Katie McCabe a problem. She's got to think, is she going to get really tight and contest, or is she going to let her run at her? So far, it's a little bit in between from Katie McCabe. Tough customer.
Sasha on corner kick duty once again.
American teammates there.
Two competitors. Sasha drills it. It's another really good set-piece delivery. Lawrence, formerly of Chelsea. Now Dumornay whips in the cross. Very easy take from Van Domselaar.
That was good hands because it was whipped in with some pace and the sunshine there and the spin on the ball. And Domselaar did well, claimed early.
Boy trying to pick out Russo, and she's wriggled away, but her progress is stopped. It was actually Blackstenius once again, causing all sorts of problems.
Not sure what the whistle was blown for. It's a good contest though. Blackstenius has been lively.
Taken down by Diani. Now Dumornay picks her head up. This time it's Woman who gets herself in the way.
Yeah, really good cover from Woman, recognising the getting in down that left hand side and getting a little closer to McCabe. Player skips past, she's got to be the first one across and be in the right position to be able to get there, Woman, and she did.
Bypasses Johannes. Brand back to Lily Johannes. Taken to Heaps. Sasha. Deep play. Emily Fox. She got the wrong side. She got the ball. That was risky. That been at all mistimed.
Yeah, there's a little bit of grappling going on, but actually when you look at it, Emily Fox does really well. She gets her arms across, avoids the temptation of grabbing her shirt, because that would have been a penalty, where Brand was in the box. Good defending from Emily Fox. Sometimes you can't be in exactly the right position. It's all about then what do you do next, what's your recovery. Fox did really well.
A little nudge there on Brand.
Well, Lindsay Heaps, as well as missing that header, or scoring that header but being rolled out, did a great job in midfield, not allowing Caldenti or Kim Little to any sort of influence so far in this game. Was that they got the ball. VAR will make the decision. Johannes had a lovely ball through to Mornay, so strong. Woman Moy attempts to play the ball. Does she get enough of the ball to ensure it's not given a penalty?
Quite similar to Kim Little incident from last week that was given and then overturned because it looked like Renard just got a touch on it. This one actually to see it a few more times. It is being checked, so a nervous wait here for Arsenal.
Well, in basic maths terms, last week Renard got 100% of the ball, and here Ruben Moy gets 10% of the ball. But 10% is enough. We still can't see from the varying angles that we have seen so far.
The referee summoned to the screen. I'm not sure how clear a view she's going to get of this.
Oh, no, we've watched it. Is it enough to overturn the referee's decision? So that is the question we're asking. Because the on-field decision is no penalty, goal kick. The referee needs to challenge her own decision, to overturn her own decision, has to be 100% sure, and we cannot see from the replay here, or the replays we've seen before, and I presume this is exactly what the referee is seeing. Here it looks like Dumornay is making touch.
Well, the referee has overturned the initial decision and given a penalty for Lyon. Moy not getting enough of the ball. That was all about Dumornay's desire though, wasn't it? It looked like she was second best to get to that ball. She didn't give it up, but just got enough of a foot in. And you know, when the referee goes to the screen, the outcome is usually, and you can see there.
Yeah, I mean, Dumornay definitely got a touch on the ball, and Ruben Moy said she touched the ball. If she did, it was afterwards and took the player down.
So Lotte Ruben Moy is given a booking, and Wendy Renard, who has 3 Champions League goals this season, all from the penalty spots, has the chance to give Lyon the lead on the day and draw level on aggregate. It's Renard, and it's saved by Van Domsela.
Brilliant from Van Domsela. As a goalkeeper, just sort of point to her right hand side to almost say to Renard, right, go that way. Giving her the bluff there. Renard goes the other way. What a timely save that was.
Well, could this save turn into an Arsenal attack and potentially a goal? It's Olivia Smith. Trying to turn Thatcher. Player stopped.
Well, is there a check to see if Domsela moves off of the line? Yep. That's what it looks like. Both feet have to be on or over or above as the penalty struck. But clearly, Van Domsela does not adhere to those rules, and a retake is the correct decision.
Renard will get another chance. Got to say, clearly, Domsela didn't have foot on the line. Just generally, throughout Renard's career, she's not been the most convincing of penalty takers. She has managed to net 3 times this season. She clearly backs herself though. The pressure will all be on her.
The 2 players in Lyon colours behind Renard going, I'll have it if you second guessing yourself.
I think the captain will full rank. Renard, take 2, sends Van Domsela the wrong way and draws Lyon level.
Well, since the rule change for goalkeepers, it is something you have to practice. It is unnatural to not step forward, to push off the power step. And if you don't start behind your line, then the tendency is to step forward of the line to push off, as Justin Van Donselaar does. The retake was ordered. Renard goes pretty much exactly the same way. And you have to say, it does feel that Lyon have deserved this margin of victory at this stage in the game.
It's been a really good start from the hosts. So 1-0 they lead, but 2-2 on aggregate. And here comes Kip Little for Arsenal. Ford charged out. Well, as we saw in the first leg, there will be openings for Arsenal.
Jonathan Giraldez will have wanted to tighten up. The back line will have wanted to tighten up and not allow those mistakes that happened in the first leg at the Emirates Stadium, the Arsenal Stadium, to happen again. We're not up to standards. But the quality of Arsenal's front line, you look at Caitlin Ford and Olivia Smith. Blackstenius is having an excellent season. Obviously Russo just behind them. They're going to cause any defence, however good they are, they're going to cause them problems. And you know, at this stage of the Women's Champions League, best teams in Europe, they're going to be excellent at both ends. The way she twists in a tight area. Also got to reduce those unforced errors. See tackle quality from Johannes and Heaps and Hegerberg, Diani, Dumorne, across the whole front line. He keeps slipping up mentally. Could be 3-4-0 down at half time.
Suspicion of offside. Here's Eula Brand. Missed out ball this time. Teammate. A heavy storm. Morning, the way she picked up that ball just 25 yards out, spun and ran straight at Donselaar's goal, Arsenal's goal. Arsenal did really well to get a block on it. Picked up by McKay. Now Russo through to Blackstenius. Renard stretching out those long legs of hers. Here's McCabe, trying to pick out Smith. Kim Little conceding a foul, even though she did very little.
Yeah, she literally was dived on. It's just a height mismatch and a matter of physics, but this is a break. A brilliant recovery tackle from Renard. It's like a signature move for Renard, is a last ditch 38-inch leg tackle.
You can see again though there, as we saw in the first leg, Endler and her defence clearly don't have the best communication.
It does seem a little chaotic. I mean, Endler's front-footed, so she's a little more advanced out of the goal than other goalkeepers. And with that, you have to make an earlier decision. Whether it's coming out or staying, shouting what that information is, it has to happen really quickly because the amount of time you've got to react is reduced. Higher up the pitch. That's what Arsenal will absolutely want. As Moy and Williamson come across, fill that channel. Emily Fox comes central, as we see exactly that set up there to allow Katie McCabe to get higher up the pitch. Much as you've got to soak up what Demornay is doing on that right hand side and Diani, you have to impress what you do so well. Arsenal and Lyon.
Stadium at this very stage of the Champions League last season to make it to the final.
But I tell you what, that will have hurt for Lyon, and they'd be quite happy for a rout.
Hold up play from Russo to Kim Little. Caldente. She sidestepped the challenge well, but found Johannes. Really good anticipation there from Woodland Boy stepping in.
Johannes and Heaps playing really well, just sat right in front, the two of them side by side almost, in front of the back four of Lyon. And it's just stopping Russo. Johannes is screening Russo. Imagine an 18-year-old Johannes playing alongside Linda Heaps, who's played nearly 200 times for her country. The USA, so much experience, so much to learn from her.
Forward foul. An Arsenal player who was exceptional in the first leg. Work rate.
Drawing a late tackle from Ashley Lawrence there. And this is sort of territory from in the first leg. Caldente managed to squeeze the ball past the befuddled Endler in goal. So far, not the best. We had Caldente over the ball, a Blackstenia front post run.
So you can listen to Premier League football on BBC Sounds tonight. The current league leaders, the Arsenal men's team, against Fulham, 5:30. And we have WSL football for you tomorrow on BBC Two, Leicester City against Chelsea. They continue their charge towards Champions League spot. That's tomorrow at 2:15. Lyon, a difficult team to figure out. Stormed their league as they always do. Won the title in March. Very little opposition. Performing well in Europe though. Hannes winning it back in a dangerous area. Mornay by Fox. Keeps trying to make her way
signal for a handball on Lindsay Heaps, because otherwise, Wood again was not far off a penalty. A little touch around Kim Little. No, it wouldn't have been given a penalty. Kim Little didn't stick a foot out, she was just there. Lindsay Heaps initiated that contact to go down. Experienced play from Kim Little there.
The ball, I think the would have been in.
Good show, she's going to try one of her trademark halfway line shots. Position that Van Domselaar was in. Done it before, Johannes.
It's the only goal in the Champions League this season. Similar position. Challenge for Brand.
Olivia Smith not being roughed up as much as she was in the first leg just yet.
Still haven't really had a prolonged spell with the ball yet. It will come. Clean challenge on Smith, on to the referee. Hannes again looks for the early ball.
Arsenal have been impressive, not panicked, they're not forcing it. But at the moment they are being outplayed by Lyon. Trouble down that right between Diani and Dimone, really exposes down the left hand side. Midfielder tracks Dimone, too fast, too powerful, gets past Kim Little. Ball was just gasping to be turned goalward. Supply down that right hand side has got to be stopped. It needs to be stopped higher up the pitch. Players not allowing Dimone or Diani on the ball.
Three, playing the corner.
So hard for Van Domselaar, the bodies and the height of those bodies right around her.
Thatcher. The back post, it's turned in. Diani squeezes it through. Lyon lead in the tie.
The angle looks impossible. It's a deep corner, decent corner from Ulebrand. From where Diani was, a couple of yards past the far post, virtually on the byline. But again, she's lost the marker. This time it's Kim Little. I think it's Russo who was on Johannes and followed the ball, just couldn't spin to make contact, to make it harder for Diani. She's unaware of it behind her. I tell you, that is a phenomenal finish from Diani. low and hard down to the ground. That wasn't luck, that was technically perfect from Lyonnes.
Lyon has turned the tie on its head. Yet to really get going. There's evidence there, Kelly Paul taking a ride for the ball. But they have been in this position before.
They have, and I almost feel like they need to get frustrated. It doesn't seem kind of like the fire and the grit and the real sort of urgency about it. And I know there's 50, 60 minutes to go in this game. It shouldn't always have to be a reset at half time to produce a reaction. But Rennie Slager has already proven many a time that she can do that to her team.
A lot stronger. Second half. Last weekend to make sure that they're not out of this half time.
With Lyon, who I think we have the bigger depth, and we're not talking substitutes right now, but certainly something that Slager will be considering. We have Chloe Kelly back available on the bench, didn't have in the first leg. More than anything, they've got to get control of the game and start possessing the ball in the midfield third and the final third.
Even Alessia Russo's touch letting her down, and that's just something we've barely seen this season. Not soon enough for Arsenal.
Lyon's last domestic game that happened between the first leg of this. They made it 11 changes for it. Arsenal beat Leicester, but couldn't afford the privilege of juggling, changing 11 players.
A lot of those 11, starting 11 for Lyon, aren't even in the squad today. Yes, Arsenal still with a very slender chance of winning the league. That relies on Manchester City dropping points in their final 2 games, which is very, very unlikely. All these games in hand. Russia's free kick. Vulnerable from these set pieces at the moment, don't they, Arsenal?
Yeah, that one was fine, but certainly from corners, when you look at how crowded Van Domselaar was, this one didn't come to anything. Shove in the back. Hope that Russo is okay. She's been an ever-present for Arsenal this season. Such relentless running. Not had much to chase or not much involvement in this game so far.
Back though, Russo on the retreat. That's Williamson. Hanneson's touch is heavy. Caldente. The decision making at the moment isn't there for Arsenal either.
But every time that Caldente has been on the ball and she's trying to play infield, either Heaps or Johannes has been there, has read that pass, is screening Blackstenius or Russo to make that pass possible. Caldente is going to have to, Kinlet or similar, to just, whether it's spin, turn, got locked in different positions. Always going to be able to speed restart. Not much in that at all. But Bash is a clever, experienced player, international, French international, one that was sorely missed. Father did a decent job in the first leg. Basher's another level.
He's been with for 17 years, Basher, and a regular for France. Smith still, I should say, much the infancy of her career. Her first season in the Champions League. Lyonnes. Back to Dubonnet.
Every goal Dubonnet has shows their quality. Every shot has been on target. Every assist or potential assist has been absolutely pinpoint.
Obama, Woman boy. Higgenberg. Johannes. Excellent block from Williamson. Lovely bit of skill there from Johannes to make the space.
She likes that turn, yeah. Great bit of skill, but well read by Williamson. Well, this is Lyon's home. That's not a foul. Higgenberg gets the ball. Showing Dubonnet's strength. She's been so impressive in this game. Lovely turn from Johannes. Screens the ball. Ball protected. Well across by Williamson to snuff out that chance.
Lyon, 18 years old. First season with Lyon after signing from Ajax. Very interesting footballing story. Moving to the Netherlands aged 10. Regular in the US Women's national team. Well cut out.
I watched her play in a post-season seven-a-side tournament in Portugal. And that's my first glimpse of Johannes. She's playing for Ajax, and she was just sensational on a small pitch as well, where the technical aspect was a bit like futsal. She was so exciting to watch. So to see her here in the semi-finals of the Champions League on the bigger stage, enjoying herself as much as she did then.
Different vibe.
Oh, it was a party vibe there for sure. Yeah, she's real quality. And Geraldo not want much to change. They've been able to suppress everything Arsenal have thrown at them. Had by far the better number of chances and quality chances. I'd be very happy with their performance so far.
Well, that's been the question defensively. They've not let Arsenal have anything in this first half. Not been tested defensively. I'm sure we'll expect that to change in the second half. Arsenal need to improve.
Yeah, I'm sure many Slagers will have go into the file mark second half and pick the scenario. Yeah, you're 2-0 down, back 3-2. And click on what the plan is for that. Select that, explain it. I'm sure we will see some tactical changes or personnel changes. They just haven't offered enough up front. Baxtenius has often been isolated up top. After endless performance and a shaky performance in the first leg, honesty and attested.
5 minutes of that time. Get worse for Arsenal. Dubonnet showing her strength, desire. Might come off this time.
Yeah, Caitlin Ford does brilliantly well. See, she's not goal side. Demorny had got goal side. She managed to get back, and look how strong Caitlin Ford is to get her arm across and just stall Demorny enough so that Van Domselaar can come out. Really experienced, clever play from Caitlin Ford. At that point, thinking if they go 3-0 down at half time, such a mountain for them. At this stage, with 1 goal in it on aggregate, still belief from Arsenal fans.
Not long. Russo.
Arsenal just need Michelle Adjemang to come on, don't they? You know, in that usual no-hope last-ditch scenario for England, Michelle Adjemang made her name. She's actually travelled with the squad, which was brilliant to see. She's clearly not back in contention yet from her ACL surgery, but being in and around the girls for an experience like this. Champions League semi-final, big stadium, big crowd, feel the vibe, feel the energy in the dressing room. Well, she won't get on the pitch, Michelle Adjemang. It'll be a brilliant learning experience for her for her future at Arsenal. Anytime she hits the deck, the Arsenal medical team will be, it's a definite arm in the back. Leah Williamson sends to the ground.
Really not happy with that. Collects. So nicely. She's absolutely surrounded by Lyon players. She's won a corner kick.
Other than getting a shot off and scoring a goal, that is phenomenal play. There's not much more she could have done, a better outcome. She could have gained, look at this, 15 seconds left in this first half. Feels like on the Arsenal's first, second or third corner, not many. Kick to the key. Shows what you've got. Can Arsenal snatch something in this definitely first half?
Again, the referee's intervening. See what's the setup. Well, that'll do for the first half. And the 8 times winners started the day behind in the tie. They got themselves level through a Wendy Renard penalty, and they are ahead. Diani from a corner kick. All is not lost for Arsenal. They're still in this, but as it stands, it's Lyon who will be progressing to the final. Half time, Lyon 2, Arsenal 0. Lyon 3-2 leaders on aggregate.
Yes, not the first half that Arsenal wanted out there in Lyon. 2-0 down on the day, 3-2 down now on aggregate. A big second half ahead for Renee Slager's side as they look to book their place in the Champions League final. Ellen White and Anita Asante alongside me, and Ellen, that is not what they would have wanted.
No, it's a real disappointing first half from Arsenal. Lyon did come out the blocks with aggression, intensity, a lot more crosses, and they really capitalised on corners as well. And I just feel like that physicality in midfield. Arsenal just couldn't get a hold of the ball, they couldn't make enough passes, they couldn't possess it and get the momentum. But full credit to Lyon, because they really came out the blocks and clearly were very frustrated from the first game.
You mentioned they're coming out of the blocks. It was an eventful start to the game, and Lyon actually thought they had the lead earlier than they did. Lindsay Heaps heading home, but it was disallowed. It was hard to see initially why this was disallowed, Anita.
Yeah, it took us a few views before we really saw the picture, but it's a fantastic delivery from Basha, and you'll see Engen's movement off of Alessia Russo on the back post. She just starts interfering with Van Doncelar. She gets contact on her, and it actually impedes her view as well. So, you know, I think that's really what made the decision for the referee, because, you know, it was clear that she actually was involved in the play, even though Lindsay Heath got free with a clean header.
Yeah, so a let-off there for Arsenal, but Lyon continued with their impressive start to the game. And then there was the penalty incident, and this was a bit dramatic as well, wasn't it? Because initially, it looked like it was a very good save. Yeah, it's obviously really disappointing for Arsenal, but yeah, this is obviously the penalty decision, and I think there's a couple of angles here where Lotte Moy does actually kick the Mornay's leg rather than the ball, so it's a definite penalty, and VAR did check it, but there was a couple of angles where you just see Lotte Moy's foot just kick the Mornay there, so it's a clear penalty. It's a frustration for the Arsenal, but she's been phenomenal, De Mornay, everywhere on the pitch. They can't handle her at the moment, Arsenal, and that's a real problem for them. Okay, let's take a look at the penalty then, because as I said initially, this looked like it was a really good save, didn't it?
Yeah, on the first viewing, you see Van Doncelar is set, she's ready, Renard steps up to the ball, but watch her feet as it just leaves the line before the ball is struck. She clearly, has gone too early. And makes a fantastic save, but those are the rules, and it goes against them.
The play then resumed, and Arsenal went down the other end, and you thought, okay, they're gonna have a let-off. But as you can see here, the referee was alerted to pull it back, and Renard doesn't miss twice, really, does she?
No, and you've got to credit her mentality as well. She goes exactly the same way. It takes a lot to obviously stand back up, reset yourself. You've just obviously had a penalty save to go back and score, and I think for her, full credit. She's so experienced anyway, but again puts her team ahead in the game.
And Lyon made it too on the 36th minute with Gianni. And I think the question we have to ask here is, how on earth has she scored from this angle?
It was honestly the tightest of angles, but I think it's all about the delivery as well. It's a fantastic in-swinging corner from Yula Brand, who elects to do an in-swinger, far post. Gianni gets through, and she just sticks her leg at it. And it goes in the right direction, and I think it probably catches everybody off guard. She's fully outstretched as well, trying to reach that ball, and it's a fantastic goal in the end.
It is a fantastic goal. So Lyon have a 2-goal cushion as a result. Does that reflect how the first half played out?
I think so. I think they more than deserve that, 100%. It's a huge disappointment for Arsenal. They only had about 4 or 5 touches in the Lyon box. They had 1 shot but none on target. So second half they have to really start possessing the ball, getting momentum, being more compact. But Lyon thoroughly deserved being 2-0. If not, maybe they were disappointed not to have maybe got 1 or 2 more.
How impressive has the midfield for Lyon been today in terms of controlling the game?
Really impressive. I think they've shown lots of presence and physicality. They're compact. They're front-footed, they look like they're hungry, they want to win the ball, and perhaps the freshness of this side is really showing. The fact that, this is a fresh 11 coming in.
That's a really good
to this game.
Actually, midweek in the league they made complete changes, didn't they? They were putting all of their focus on today.
Exactly, and I think it's telling. You can see that in the dynamism, the hungers, the connections, both in and out of possession.
De Mornay, just how much of a difference has she made in her class and her kind of know-how?
She's just unbelievable. The pockets that she picks up, her directness, the way that she kind of jinks at her centre of
central gravity, if I get the words out, is quite phenomenal. And like I said before the show, she's just world class. And with the physicality of Heat in the midfield, but then you've got Demorne with that class, you've got Johannes that possesses the ball so well. I think the three of them, that combination is working really well. Caldenti just can't get a foot on the game, nor can Russo. Can listen maybe a little bit higher, but that combination with Demorne as well now, that wasn't able to play in the first leg, she's just making things tick. Okay, well, we'll be heading out to Lyon very shortly to get some reaction at half-time, but I'm not sure if you've seen, we're wishing a very happy birthday to the Count to 5 Tay scheme, because 10 years ago, the BBC they get to moments and create more big chances in front of goal. Yeah, that was something that they probably weren't last week, wasn't it, Lyon, when they did have the chances. The chances that we usually expect them to take, they didn't, and it gets the feeling with the Lyon in this mood, they probably will if they get those chances. Yeah, it's quite terrifying when they're in this kind of mood and the players are really on form, and yeah, they seem to have built a lot of connections. Obviously that rest has made a huge impact to them as well, but they just seem to be really on it, and I feel like their experience of getting to finals, their winning mentality seems to have really shone through in this first half. But they've also got to contend with an Arsenal that are probably angry right now and want to prove themselves and be like, no, we want to be the first English team to go back-to-back in European finals as well. Arsenal have to bring that fire now. They know Lyon are committing numbers to their attack, so there is space to exploit. They like to progress the ball through the third, but can they mix up the game a bit more, play a bit more direct in behind them when the likes of Basha is actually getting higher up the pitch and losing space. A huge 45 minutes ahead then for René Slager's Arsenal, and the around 600 Gunners fans have made the journey from North London to see if their side can make it to another Champions League final. Can the holders overcome Lyon here? They are 2-0 down on the day, they are 3-2 down on aggregate. Don't go anywhere, we've got a big 45 minutes ahead, so let's hand you over to your commentary team, Rachel Brownson and Robin Cowan.
Yes, thank you, Kelly. And lots more live football to come this summer for you, including the Women's Champions League final on the 23rd of May, followed by the World Cup finals starting in June. If you need to get yourself a TV licence to enjoy all of that live action, then just scan the QR code on your phone on the screen. And so Arsenal behind. Improvement in performance required then to make second successive Champions League final. This will be the true test of whether Lyon were just keeping Arsenal at bay, not allowing them to play their game, or just a particularly poor first half from the Gunners.
It wasn't too dissimilar to the first leg. Arsenal transformed themselves for the second half. It's going to take a similar transformation, an upturn in performance from Arsenal. Laid a glove on them in the first half.
Gianni. Dumornay. Play of Leah Williamson. Okay, looking at a particularly good way here.
That awkward landing after the tackle from Gianni.
Up.
Another corner for Arsenal to defend. Looks so menacing on the Lyon.
It's Basha. Try and work the crossing opportunity again. Drips it towards the back post of Hegerberg. Still alive. Still failing to clear their line. And Dumornay.
You can see why Dumornay's stats are absolutely incredible. The number of goals that she's scored. 32 in 22 for Lyon. 20 goals in 20 games for Haiti. Every shot is on target, every assist is absolutely pinpoint. She has been the difference between the legs. And Hegerberg nearly gets in, well blocked by Blackstenia, kept alive by a number of headers in the box. Lindsay Heath certainly had more of an impact in this game. That last little nudge by Renard with the yellow card.
Looking for Renard. I think some referees might have taken a dimmer view of that.
Raise your hands to a player. And we'll think we know what the outcome should be.
Being allowed to have a run at this defence at all, she's giving it away.
She's been kept in some of Bash's pockets.
Now, she was caught late. I don't think it was intentional, as Hegerberg was trying to release the ball.
Yeah, there's certainly no foul. Hegerberg plays the ball and just with her outstretched leg, the stud. Smith, and no doubt that would really hurt. It isn't a foul. It's been a much more polished performance by Lyon in the second leg compared to the first. Nice touch away from Hegerberg. What Arsenal have got to do is stay positive, stay focused on what their game plan is. Any subtle changes from any plays at half time, just keep reinforcing those mentally in your head. Been in positions like this before and got themselves through it by trusting in the game plan.
Oh, another quickly taken free kick. It's a clever one. It's just in front of Ford.
And it involves Caldente and Blackstenia. Caldente just flips the ball down the right channel. A lovely run across the line. Sorry, this time from Russo. He's taking the 2-1 ponytails. Gets free from Basher, and actually Basher does get a touch. Russo's shot was ruled out by offside, I believe.
Well done back. Caden Ford. And now Russo. Now Renard went to ground. I think Russo could have made a bit more of that.
That wasn't the cleanest of sliding tackles from Renard. This is more like Arsenal wanted Russo to get into the game more. Was a little too deep, trying to do a job for the team, and he's mainly defensive work. Second half, already seen a lot more of Russo on the ball in the final third.
Looping, kept in, but cleared. Mornay. Just clipped Smith.
Yeah, Smith did really well to switch on to her defensive duties because kept in brilliantly by Robin Moy. Arsenal nearly had a chance to shoot on goal, and within seconds it was De Mornay closing down that space. Liv Smith, deepest player, got a vital touch. Second of comfortable possession for any Arsenal player at the back when De Mornay's around.
Caldente. McKay. Line from Caden Ford.
diagonal ball to Olivia Smith coming off the back post. Off on it.
Ford takes that well. So well marked there.
Well, the wide players, Kevin Ford and Olivia Smith, looking to tuck in narrower to create more bodies in the central area and have the full-backs overlapping, so we saw their kids became much higher up the pitch, providing the width. And it's something that these players and their backroom staff have reinforced. Talked about Bastinius and Russo hardly being in the game or being isolated. Creates more bodies in that central danger area.
Simone tries to challenge of Caitlin Ford. Spreads the play out wide. Fox didn't get there. The boys' clearance picked up by Johannes. Lawrence away from Woman Boy. Over the head of Brand. Thatcher. Johannes. Simone, so clever. Diani, well, not the easiest of takes.
Yeah, they off the back line did really well there to ensure there wasn't space to see how they get out all together. Not enough space for a ball in behind. Again, brilliant awareness from Simone. 22, so much more obviously to come from her.
Kim Little, big force back. Incandescent, so she doesn't get a corner.
Yeah, Kim Little using all their experience there to shield the ball. It looks like a Stonewall goal kick, but
You don't ask, you don't get. She did ask, she didn't get on that occasion. You said it in the first half, Rachel, the midfield that has just looked so good for Lyon.
yeah, it just seems to be stopping Russo particularly getting on the ball with Lizzie Heaps and Johannes. See them in our picture now, kind of stepping the flow of that central area, trying to overload more bodies in there Arsenal in the second half.
Russo, Caldente, help it on to Smith. Give and go with Caldente, a little bit too much on that, but that is exactly how they're going to bypass the fullbacks, isn't it? Especially Basha, who's looked pretty much unpassable today.
Yeah, she matches Lily Smith for speed and she's got the defensive awareness, played that position forever, as you said, that's so many years for Lyon, as well as established French international. Coming back from a calf injury, Lily Smith, she won't run out of steam for sure. She can take advantage of Salma Basha later on in the game.
Plenty a good take. Oh, off the post! Flag is up anyway. But that direct run from Ford, then Blackstenius.
Yeah, run off the left central edge, been talking about that. It's a great touch and finds himself in enough space to be in and absolutely under the ball. Looks like this flag for Blackstenius. It looks a really tight call and would have gone to semi-automated. Life for Arsenal, and that's the exciting thing.
A wonderful sharp turn from Russo. Maybe that has sparked them into life. Caitlin Ford. She's at her best, running at the back line. Smith picking the ball up. Oh, off the post again. Just dribbled onto it. Oh! The referee's given it the other way. It looked like a little trip there from Heaps.
This is the fire we talked about in the first half. Didn't seem to be there. Brilliant play again from Caitlin Ford. Russo in that 9 position where we really want to see her. Nothing wrong with anything I've seen so far, and then Russo just shoving Lindsay Heaps out of the way to try and get the ball. But the right hand post, and within less than 2 minutes, the left hand post. The alarm bells must be ringing. Dennis does really well there to scramble the ball up. Lindsay Heaps just about out of the way.
Lyon getting ready to bring on Corbin Schrader. Oh, good boys header. Allows Hegerberg in.
Sometimes I'll be hoping that Schrader warm up. Going to see the end of Demornay on the pitch for Lyon. She's been so dangerous, but comes back from 4 games out. It's always a matter of how long she would last. At least Arsenal have got fans off the seats in the second half.
As well. Nice splitting pass that she's capable of. Ford. She can move the ball quicker as well. Little. Picks it up. Here's Dumornay. She's got Hegerberg with her. She might go alone. Dumornay. He picks out Hegerberg.
Excellent recovery runs. Kim Little couldn't quite keep up pace with Demornay, but it does slow her down and allows Emily Fox to get across and make that interception.
Antoinette Toto. So coming on, Lilia Hannis. Withdrawn in the midfield for Lyon. Schrader on in third place. Toto is on. Hegerberg off. Lawrence to Diani and now Dumornay.
Schrader started in the first leg of this last week and she was excellent. Played a little bit higher in that game. I would anticipate she'd just sit alongside Lindsay Heaps. And Hannah's played.
Ball to Arsenal.
Anticipated brilliantly there from Domslat. As the ball got played out to Dumornay, you can see she's a little bit stretched. She's always going to be reaching for it. She's going to try and cut back. Anticipates it well, cuts it out.
Russo, pick out Ford. Big clearance to Renner. More centrally, but then running into traffic. McCabe.
Right idea to try and supply Ford, who'd hung out in that number 9 position.
I think the clearance doesn't really do the trick, but towards Ford doesn't come off. Slow at the moment.
I think that was fair though. Kim Little got double teamed. Brand was able to get to tackle him. Just no time on the ball. Kim Little to weave her magic that we've seen time and time again, year in, year out. Game plan from Geralda so far. It's making a treat. But certainly signs of hope in this second half for Arsenal. Couple of opportunities, they could have nicked one.
Lyon creating more. Could be ahead by more. Diani. Shot by Schrader. Tower.
Just got the ball back and gave it back straight away, and so just stopped Lyon from, just blocked it last ditch and then regained possession, quickly gave it back. It's going to be energy sapping for Arsenal players who've 4 minutes in their season under their belt.
French division has introduced the French League Cup, which of course Lyon won. Dumornay scoring a big goal in the final. So attempting to turn. Stopped by Heaps.
Now the powerhouse of French football, and have been for a long time. 18 of the last 19 League 1 they've won. Chloe Kelly sipping a power juice ready to come on, hopefully, some fans would think.
again, a question mark as to her fitness and how long she'll be able to play, if she is able to at all. The last couple.
Will the next move for Rennie Slager be the one that she adjusts the formation in a good hour of the match, figured out where she can exploit, the team can exploit Lyon.
Olivia Smith has not had the joy she experienced in the first leg, so she is off. Smilla Hobert is on for Arsenal, got her first Gunners goal. 7-0 win over Leicester midweek, and Victoria Palova getting a chance. High stakes game with Caldente withdrawn. Again, she's not been at her best today, Caldente, but one of the world's best. Her and Kim Little have both played an enormous amount of minutes this season.
Boredom coming on for Caldente. I expect her to go higher up. Kim Little probably anchor on her own. Palova will help her out sometimes, but they're looking to feed Russo. Palova. Good start.
Already into the book.
Yeah, that's a textbook. Back from behind. Don't get the ball. Yellow card. Really fired up for this one.
I believe she's been frustrated with the game time she's had. But this is a real opportunity. Team are behind. Someone needs to make the difference.
Yeah, a long time out, wasn't it? The year with an ACL injury. Palova. Sharp, energetic, lots of movements in tight areas. Should be able to get on the ball.
Great ball from McCabe. The touch had to be perfect from Palova and it wasn't. Still have it back. McCabe to Russo. Looks like where the space is. Caitlin Ford's cross.
Yeah, so Arsenal open themselves up a little bit. Kim Little on the road anchoring rather than her and Caldente. Another player in attack for Arsenal.
Squirts here for Palova!
Good, clean opening, wasn't it? Fortuitously in some ways. Katie McCabe trying to put the ball in the box. It deflects to Palova on the edge of the box. Just about enough space before Engen and Basher close the door. Toe closed down, I think. Yeah. Being on the pitch, and she's another player who's been out with ACL previously. Fingers crossed it's nothing back door.
During Euro 2022. Again, such a magnificent player. Hasn't really reached the heights since suffering that awful injury.
Well, when you do suffer a major injury, you become, having done it myself, the ACL, subsequent operations, you become far more aware of your body, of how it feels, how it's working, how it reacts. she's obviously felt something not right.
Gianni, who's down receiving treatment now for Lyon. While this happens, we'll direct you towards Women's Champions League highlights for you on BBC 3. That's on Monday at 11 o'clock. And Netball Super League on the iPlayer Monday. 4:45 start. Manchester Thunder against Birmingham Panthers for you.
So look, Moy go over to Rennie Flagers in this actual break with Diana being tended to. And Tuesday's just holding the back of a hamstring, Diana.
Best show is getting ready for Lyon. Ready for Diani. A very good game. Very effective in those wide positions. Failing to get past Emily Fox. Real clear through ball for Kim Little. Cave though. Berg. Oh, towards Russo! Alexia Russo brings Arsenal back into the game. Where did that come from? And where did Russo come from?
It was a brilliant diagonal ball. Katie McCabe, I think it is, out to Camilla Holmberg, who finds herself in a bit of space, and it's just take the ball past Basher, which is something that Liv Smith had not been able to do. Fresh legs, Holmberg, fresh set of pair of eyes as well to figure out where and exactly when, but how quite Russo got between Lawrence and Heaps. Arsenal fans won't care, but the way she eyes fixed on that ball, Russo, and the season that she's had for both club and country, you weren't going to bet against that ending up in the back of the net. Game on.
And goal number 9 in the Champions League for Alessia Russo, who is having a season to remember. And here come the changes for Lyon. Diani is off. For Vicky Beccio. So Lindsay Heaps coming off. Level in the tie once again. Dumornay tries to do further damage to Arsenal as she usually does.
That's the opening that Arsenal have been trying to craft. Now's a vulnerable time for Lyon if Arsenal can keep the foot down.
Well, one introduction from home there. Olivia Smith was getting absolutely no change down that right hand side. A little bit ragged here from Arsenal. Here's Dumornay.
An excellent block from Moy in the end to get across and snuff out the danger. Not a foul from Dumornay. McCabe gives up possession. Excellent recovering tackle from Arsenal ever-present Moy. Corners. Lyon have been dangerous on these. And Domslar got to take control.
Dangerous delivery, won by the on player. Well, first contact, just straight out of play.
Yeah, substitute Egarola, who's come on for Lindsay Heaps. Back of the shirt, Damaris. Played at Everton for a little bit. But holding midfielder, so like for like from a tactical sense of Lindsay Heaps. In the first leg came on for same position, same player. Brandy's come out onto the right side and Vicky Beshel gone out onto the left.
The referee happy with that. Here's Caitlin Ford for Arsenal. Oh. Well, she was happy for a little bit. Want the play back?
Good old think about that, she. Nothing.
Really lovely flick on. Show awkward height for her. Arsenal just need another corner kick.
Egarola got the header, which was key to making something. A bit of a 50-50 free kick. Focus, the run of Heaps, put the alarm bells ringing in that first half. Can't switch off, you have to block your players, make first, second contact.
Contact with Van Domslar. Oh, it's a great hit, just wide.
That would have been an unbelievable goal. See how she's on her own and her touch is beautiful. A little bit of a jink. Virtually no backlift at all. No time for the goalkeeper to read the cue that she's going to strike. No change in body shape. Square on to get that much power from square on.
Chloe Kelly on for Arsenal. Stands, we're heading for extra time. Katie McCabe is drawn for Arsenal. Over. Wants to foul Basher. It possibly was, but I'm not sure she was going to get onto that ball.
I've watched Sam Basher for years. He do that quite a lot. Not a lot of contact. Holmberg's made.
Blackstinius is off. Toto. Dumornay. Brandt. Dumornay.
Surge of energy around the stadium. Rebound. The Fox gone to left back with kids that came coming off. Concentrate on this and her particular.
Leave it at the near post by Mornham. Asher back in. As she released by Kelly. Vantage played. Renard. Dumornay. Spots the run of Grand! Looks like the flag is up. This will be checked.
From the naked eye, that's what I thought. And that first time the ball was played, it's lovely build-up, but just a fraction early. Brandt goes on the shoulder, just rubber moist, stepping enough, holding enough, and we said, well, sumptuous finish to open up across the goalkeeper, left-footed, to curl it in inside netting. But Arsenal got it spot on with regards to the line. It's not opinion, it's fact, we'll see. So the call of the naked eye from the assistant is backed up by semi-automated offside. Brown got that goal in the first leg. She's been moved around in this second leg. What a finish.
Wilson Raldis is trying to will the goal into existence, it seems. At the moment, it is not going to stand. The flag did go up.
Just see there was explaining it's a semi-automated offside. It's not people upstairs looking and drawing lines. It's the chip in the ball. With the delay, it's obviously a lot tighter. Is explaining her final tactical chess move to Russo. Do you stick? Do you play for extra time? Do you get it finished?
Might depend on the outcome of this. Tense weight for both sides. Time taken is just adding to the anxiety. must have been the tightest of calls. Brand on the board and putting Lyon back into the lead.
Well, it took so long that it must be so tight, an optical illusion, however you call it. But let's just not take away from the quality of the finish. A wonderful ball, once again from Dumornay, to pinpoint pick out her teammate who drifted to the near post. The touch was excellent, it sat up beautifully. She opened up her hip and side-footed it brilliantly home. And all-out attack now for Arsenal to get themselves back in it at this very late stage.
Time not on their side. Now as they push forward, they leave themselves vulnerable. And Lyon can wrap this up. Emily Fox in the way of that pass.
Lyon will just take as long as they can over every little incident like this, and Arsenal would do the same if they were in the same boat. Salma Basha sees a stray leg, finds a way of, well, let's see.
Just because you can't score with your arm. I mean, that might be debated, but goal is good, according to the technology. So much for Ellen White and Anita Asante to discuss.
Arsenal worked so hard to get themselves back into this second half. They have to throw absolutely everything at this final few minutes, and 9 extra minutes so far. Sure, will be a little more with every trick that Lyon try and pull. Waste a little bit of time.
Case in point, I think it's lost a shoe. Looks like she's forgotten how to do shoelaces.
Play it down for the moment.
Kalova. Corner kick.
And these are situations where Arsenal really have to make the most of them. They've not had loads of corners in this game, certainly compared to Lyon. Getting to clutch time. No Katie McCabe, no Calzente, who's taken the corners previously.
So there, high looping. Mornham gets first contact. Kalova does well to help it to Caitlin Ford. Lofts it back in. Still keeping the pressure up. Kelly towards Woman Moy.
Clever play from Kelly. Holberg wanted a 1-2, but Kelly turned out the other way. Put the delivery in. Good delivery to Woman Moy, who stayed high up the pitch.
Owner Michelle Kang, 50% share of Lyon. Determined to restore them to former glories, and this would be a step closer to that. Last Champions League trophy came in 2022. Brown's trying the reverse ball. Upfield by Little.
attacking players. Really, Slegers has pretty much shown all her cards. Lyonnes and his team just need to hold on. I don't think they're going to play a short corner, I may be wrong, but I feel like they feel they can go on to rubber stamp this performance. Some players, this might be their last chance in an Arsenal shirt. Champions League glory. Well, it's been the two players who didn't play in the first leg, in my opinion, who've been the difference for Lyon. Salma Basha at left back just kept Olivia Smith really quiet, and Dumornay in attack has been absolutely sensational. She's made every single pass count, every touch count, every shot is on target. So impressed with her performance. Excited to see what the future holds for the Haitian forward. That challenge. They've just looked more disciplined, more confident, clinical, less generous. Yeah, they've been sharper, both in attack, in areas to make it count. You know, the Ulebrand finish is a perfect example, because it was not an easy chance, but beautifully created by Dumornay with a gorgeous passing. Took the touch beautifully, opened up and finished impressively beyond Van Domselaar. Performance really from the very, very start to the very, very end, albeit not flawless. I'm not sure you can argue it feels it has been superior to Arsenal's. Can Arsenal create one last chance to drag this out? Time for one more, if that. Lyon managing to keep the ball particularly well. Although the ball not precise enough. Oh, it was a brilliant run from Russo as well. She got between the two defenders. It was Lawrence and Renard. Just the weight of the ball needed to be spot on into the path of Russo to take a touch towards Endler. Too many books in that conference. Lawrence didn't quite know what to do with it, but it's very untidy at the moment. 90 seconds remaining. The allotted time. Fine pass from Fox. Rousseau nearly picked out Pullover, and again that defensive solidity is there for Lyon. Yeah, shielded well by Engen. Early call from Endler. See a call in there, and that call's made. Engen's job is to hold off the player, so that Endler can come and collect. So that didn't happen well in the first leg. Caleb Ford delivers ahead of Russo. Too much of that for anyone to retrieve. Suggested look from Ford after she overhit that. Potentially was Arsenal's last opportunity. to create something. You feel that Arsenal have given it everything, that their tanks were a little lower on fuel than Lyon's were at the start of this game.
And there it is, Arsenal's Champions League defence is over. Lyon exacts revenge for last season's semi-final disappointment and reach their 12th Champions League final. The superior team on the day. They were down after the first leg, but they showed their dominance, their prowess, their clinical edge, and it is Lyon who will head to Oslo and the final of the Champions League. 3-1, Lyon have won on the day, 4-3 on aggregate. Devastating for Arsenal, Rachel.
Indeed. They came here having last year overcome a deficit to emphatically win in the same stadium. This time, Lyon did to them, got their revenge, turned it around. They were the better team, they had the better quality on the pitch, the better depth to bring on to change things, and in the moments where it counted, they absolutely did make it count. Having Dumornay back was a huge boost for the team. How long she could play for? Well, we saw. She was emphatic from the first moment to the very last. But the road, to Oslo, stops here for Arsenal in Lyon.
Well, there was a game of fine margins, the finest of which was possibly the winning goal from Ulebrand. But I'm not sure there was any discussion that Lyon deserved winners on the day. They celebrate, they plot a course for a 9th Champions League trophy. For Arsenal, they will be left to reflect on another very impressive season, another semi-final, but they've just come up short over the 2 legs. And so, final score here, 3-1 to Lyon on the day. Lyon progressed 4-3 on aggregate.
Thank you very much to Robin and to Rachel. Heartbreak for Arsenal as they gather round in a huddle on the pitch at full time. Michelle Tang goes across, of course, involved with Lyon, incredibly proud of her side because Lyon are going to yet another Champions League final. They won on the night, they won on aggregate. Ellen White, Denise Sante in the studio with me. Let's focus on the Arsenal perspective though, Anita, because coming into this game with the lead, that is just a bit of disappointment.
Yeah, I think it's heartbreaking for them. The players will be disappointed, they'll be dejected. They would have felt that they did as much as they possibly could, but it wasn't enough. And I just think you can't go into these games with slow starts. They start the first half too slow, you allow Lyon to build that kind of momentum, and at this level you will get punished because Lyon are such an experienced team. They rode the pressure and the expectation better. They managed to get the players that could really cause problems into the game early, and Arsenal didn't do that.
Yeah, Arsenal, of course, the current holders, but Lyon have so much experience at this level, and it did in the end tell. And it does mean that Lyon will be playing in this season's Champions League final. Confirmation then of how the semi-finals currently look. This game is done, this leg tie. I'll get my words out eventually. It's done. Arsenal winning 2-1 at the Emirates. The confirmation that Lyon's 3-1 win today means they win on aggregate by 4-3. Look at that. What a blockbuster game we have for you tomorrow in the Champions League. Barcelona taking on Bayern Munich. That match is locked at 1-1 for Lyon. We'll be watching on to see who they are going to face in the final, which takes place on May the 23rd, and we will have live coverage for you of that game across the BBC. But it won't be Arsenal who are playing in that final. The holders are out after an afternoon that basically, Ellen, didn't get off to the best start. And even if they got themselves back into it in that second half, it never really felt like they had the momentum, did it?
No, it felt like an uphill battle. I just don't feel like Arsenal were able to impose themselves.
in the game. They weren't able to grasp any momentum. Yes, they obviously came back a little bit in the second half, made some good substitutions. Holmberg done well on that right-hand side. I just thought the wide areas, they just couldn't get in the game. They were physically dominated in midfield, which is a huge disappointment with the array of talent they have. Alessia Russo also scored a brilliant goal, wasn't able to impose herself as well in the game, but you've got to credit Lyon. Their game plan, their physicality, their intensity and their clinical edge won them this leg, and obviously a place in the final as well. As you said, Ellen, it was Alessia Russo who scored the goal that got Arsenal back into it and got Arsenal believing once again. And Anita, once again, it was just a moment of pure skill. We've seen her do it so many times in the Champions League this season, only tonight, in the end, it counts for nothing.
Yeah, and it all started with Smila Holmberg, the substitute on the right-hand side. She picks up the ball, she's direct, she gets herself in there, and it's a brilliant cross across the box, and Alessia Russo does so well to time her run, but also get between two defenders in Lawrence and Heaps, the midfielder, who are trying to, crowd her out, and she gets that fortunate touch on the end of it just to send it past Endler. And at that point they had that little bit of hope that they were back in it, and you just thought that might be the catalyst to just push them on into the game.
Yeah, from saying before, they never really had the momentum. That was their best spell of the game, wasn't it? And from then on, they did start to be that belief, but they never managed to capitalise on it.
Exactly, they didn't manage to capitalise on that, and then they almost allowed Lyon to then get a foothold back in the game and score again, which is a big frustration for them. So that was a huge goal, and I feel for them, they had to then move forward again. They had to keep attacking, they had to get it in the wide areas again, and more crosses in the box, more bodies in the box. Alessia Russo, obviously top goal scorer currently in the Champions League, get her on the ball, get crosses in the box, impose herself physically, but just weren't able to do that. One of the other big headlines and talking points from this game is undoubtedly going to be VAR. It was involved early on in the game with ruling out a goal, with the penalty retake, and then at the end we had a lengthy delay after Jules Bland thought she scored the winner for Lyon. We had a lengthy delay. We saw Jonathan Giraldez on the touchline. He was sure straight away it was a goal. It was eventually given, but this is one that maybe to the naked eye looks a little bit confusing, Anita. Yeah, initially, on the initial run and the play, we thought it's clearly she's onside, but it's tight. So her feet, her head, her body are onside, and that in the end is why the margins are so fine. She timed her run to perfection. The ball is a delightful ball from Dumone, who's been causing havoc throughout the game, and you just see there it's clear, and it's those fine margins that are the difference at this level, and it's actually such a sublime finish from UWCL.
Sublime finish, but it's also a really impressive ball in. No one's talking about the ball from Dumone, are they? Because we're all talking about the controversy that surrounded it. But it was actually a really good goal, takes that away from it.
Absolutely, just the assist was absolutely phenomenal. She was player of the match for me. Just her presence, her ability to drive this Lyon team forward to get to the final, her delivery, but then you've got to have someone that's cool, calm and collected in those moments. Beautifully touched, composed with the finish, which we didn't have in the first leg, and they transformed it completely in this second leg at home. And those scenes of celebrating with the fans is just incredible for them and their fans going into their 12th European final, which is quite phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible, and perhaps in the end their experience at this level, their know-how, even the fact that in midweek they made so many changes and they put all their focus on today, and it's paid off.
Yeah, and I think that's credit to them, that they also recognise that Arsenal are a fantastic team. They needed to be at their best, their sharpest, their freshest. They made those changes, and I just felt Dumone was the orchestrator of everything positive that came through their attacks. And if you can't impose the tempo, you can't impose your physicality, then where are you going to make those matchups? And that really was the difference for them.
Well, as I said, VAR was heavily involved in this match from start to finish, early on ruling out a Lindsay Heaps goal, and then there was a penalty given, which was taken. Should we firstly take a look at the penalty decision? Was it correct that the penalty was given? Because this took multiple replays and kind of before VAR decided it was correct.
Yeah, 100%. I think you just need to just have a look at Lotte Ruben-Moy's foot. She kicks Simone's leg clearly, and Simone actually makes contact with the ball rather than Ruben-Moy. So I think it's a correct decision by VAR to take a look, and for the referee to go and look at the screen as well. You'll just see there that Ruben-Moy, she just kicks Simone's leg, and the honesty of Simone is it clearly hurts. We're being booted and it clearly hurts. But it's a correct decision, and a little bit of drama unfolded from then on.
Yeah, and then we saw something that we don't see too often, Wendy Reynard's missing a penalty, but she was kind of given a reprieve, wasn't she? Because when play continued, the referee pulled it back, and was this the correct decision? Because if you look at it now, can you see that the goalkeeper's off the line?
Yeah, it took a while to pull that back, but you see Van Domtela leave her line really early. She's sort of miles off her line before the penalty is taken, which probably allowed her, therefore, to make the save. And in the end, it was the correct decision to pull it back and retake it.
Yeah, so retaking. It felt at that point, didn't it, that, okay, things aren't really going Arsenal's way here after the early goal being disallowed.
Yeah, it's just a huge disappointment, isn't it? You think, oh, the goalkeeper's made an incredible save. We're still in this game. You know, heaps of goals been disallowed. You know, this penalty's been saved, but unfortunately for them, obviously it was retaken, and just the experience of Wendy Renard to just step up and still hit in the same place that obviously it got saved. So yeah, great experience from her.
Well, Lyon did double their lead 9 minutes from half-time, and this is just an incredible finish. But no matter how many times you watch it, I still am left wondering how on earth she's managed to get it in the net.
But it's all about being alive in the box. It's a fantastic delivery from Eula Brand into that far post area, and you just see Diani, she's fully outstretched her right leg, gets a really solid connection with the ball, is able to guide it in that near post area. It's a super tight angle. You're thinking how she even squeezed it in there, but in the end it's just a fantastic finish.
I also like the physicality. She's kind of jostling with Kim Little there, so she's had to kind of push Kim Little off, make her way round the back, and then to be able to get her leg and make the connection near post past Van Domtela is really impressive. And obviously that's a huge goal for them going into obviously the second half as well.
Yeah, because psychologically that gave them the 2-goal lead, that put them ahead once again in the tie, and then going into half-time, it was pretty comfortable for them at that point.
Yeah, they built the momentum. They could feel and sniff that they were in control, which therefore gave them the freedom to commit numbers forward and start to sort of dictate things.
Okay, let's get some reaction from, I'm sure, a very disappointed Arsenal camp. Leah Williamson is speaking with Joe Curry.
Well, I think some games probably hurt more than others, and I suspect that one's going to sting for a while.
Yeah, they're a tough team to play against. They were, good today. So we didn't quite match that in the first half. I thought we put on a better display in the second, but not enough.
There wasn't much between the two sides today. Obviously VAR played a starring role as well, but does it hurt more knowing that there was so little between you?
Yeah, I think you work so hard for it to be an inch here and inch there is difficult, but you want to win the game, create chances, take chances, and we didn't today. So yeah, disappointing.
Did the occasion, was it almost too big for the players? I know many of you played in big games before. When you say you weren't quite at your best, particularly first half, what was behind that?
No, I think sometimes you have to give credit to another team for being on fire. This team is so humble and they work so hard. And they're my teammates, I say that about them. Everybody gives everything. The one thing you can't take away is that everybody gave what they had. But it just, there's football games that go your way, and arguably we should have scored a few more in the first leg, maybe, to give ourselves a bit of breathing space. So, yeah, the word is disappointed. I keep saying the same thing.
And with VAR playing such a role today, how frustrating was it as a player to play in with that going on?
Yeah, it's hard. I felt at the start of the game the ball had been in play for about 2 minutes out of 20. But there's decisions also, the rules, I don't think we're all on the same page of it, so it's frustrating, but it's very stop-start.
Thank you for speaking to us.
Thanks, thank you.
Yeah, you can see Leah Williamson incredibly disappointed there. Interesting there where she's saying, I don't think we're quite on the same page with all of the rules. I guess when you're playing these big games and when VAR does take its time, I know that it's stop-start, but can you understand what she's saying and her frustration?
Yeah, I think, we get quite frustrated as well, like speaking and obviously not being involved as a player, but there's a lot of grey areas. You want it black and white. Is it offside? Is it penalty? Is this correct? Is it not? And then having to have so much time with VAR, not being 100% of why things are doing. I think it's the communication from the referees as well and what's happening in the game, but I think it's trying to eliminate the grey areas is the main thing for everyone involved.
She did also mention there that sometimes you have to admit that the other team were just better, but also that they weren't at their best today, Arsenal. Is that something you agree with?
Yeah, absolutely, and we can talk about VAR, but it's also about how can you take control of what you can control. And, Leah Williamson made the point that they perhaps could have scored or should have scored more goals in the first half of the first leg, or the first leg in general. So, I think they were wasteful today. They weren't finding the fluidity and the rhythm, the connections in the final third. They didn't have enough touches in the box. They didn't force enough indecision from defensive players of Lyon, commit them into challenges and pull them into areas that they don't want to go into. They allowed them to be sort of front-footed as well. And I think having played as a defender, I would love that all day long, to be able to see players in front of me, have control, and feel like I'm in control. Because from a psychological point of view, then I'm always taking my momentum forward and not backwards.
I think what makes Arsenal a great team is able to possess the ball and build their own momentum and really stifle teams, and I feel like they weren't able to do that in this game. They weren't able to put their foot on the ball, gain passes, gain momentum, move the ball around. It felt like they constantly wanted to attack and move forward, and like Oni said, they were quite wasteful. But then you've got to credit Lyon with their shape, their passing lines, the way they were able to stop those passing lines, and also their physicality that they imposed, and Arsenal weren't quite able to match that.
Okay, let's get some more reactions from Arsenal then. Kim Little's been speaking with Joe Curry.
Kim, I know emotions are going to be raw right now, but how do you begin to sum up that one? An awful lot went on in that game.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. There was a lot of stops for VAR. It was an intense game. I'm sure it was to watch as well. Obviously, just disappointed to not make it through to the final and to not get the result today. But obviously, credit and congratulations to Lyon.
What have you said to the players? How are the rest of the playing group?
Yeah, not much. Renee obviously speaks to the group at the end, and we just come together and we have to refocus now and be proud of what we've achieved this year, reaching the semi-final again, and then obviously moving on to the league this week. And then just disappointed. We're here to win football matches and to represent this great club, and we're sad that we couldn't bring the win today.
When you equalised late on, you must have thought the team had done at least enough to reach extra time at that point.
Yeah, I think from what it felt like in the game, obviously, it might have felt different watching it. It kind of resettled. We obviously scored the goal, and then small margins with their final goal. With the offside, I think I have no idea how close it was. I'm assuming it was very close. Positioning small margins at the end, and they obviously got that today.
You're obviously very proud to have led the team to the semi-finals. How do you sum up this European campaign this year as a whole?
Yeah, again, a really special journey. We obviously won it last year, and that was such a high, and our aim was to reproduce those performances this year. And I think on the most part we have. We've had great results in the league phase, and then obviously a great result against Chelsea. Very different games our sort of run last year, so we'll learn from them a lot. Obviously we didn't get the result we wanted today, but we'll learn from them and hopefully be back next year.
Thank you for speaking to us. Well done.
Well, it still has been a brilliant European campaign for Arsenal, getting to another semi-final. They're certainly showing progression under such a young coach, someone that we were speaking off camera, and you were saying it's still wild that Rene has made it as Arsenal head coach. It has been another season of success, but also of learning too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all rode that high with them when they lifted the trophy last season, and they've knocked out some stellar opposition on the way to the semi-final. And it's just that, that keeping that steam and that energy going, that's really hard to do. And they have been missing a few players as well that maybe could have made a difference. But ultimately, you have to give credit to Lyon because they were just exceptional today. And Dumounet was just one of those players that was emphatic in so many moments where you need to find that composure and that little bit of quality that takes them through.
I thought it was interesting, actually. Joe asked Thea if she felt like maybe the occasion could have been too big for them, could have maybe got the better of them, which she kind of carried on the question by saying, I know you've all played in big games, having played in some of the biggest ones alongside you, of course. But do you think there is an argument that maybe today there was nerves, that maybe Lyon just had that little bit of extra know how to handle the occasion as well as the game?
I think the players would have been able to obviously handle the occasion and the pressure, but you're always going to have nerves, reaching this stage of a competition. At the end of the day, it's fine margins. One team is going to progress, it's just how that actually happens. And this game, obviously, for Lyon, they were more clinical, They showed more physicality, and they were able to score more goals than Arsenal at the end of the day. And Lyon made a great point that they maybe, and Anita, that they should have scored more maybe in the second half, and that's one for maybe learnings and for looking back. But they can be very proud, because that's a hard thing to do, is to go back to back. You know, Champions League, they had European Championships last summer. A lot of the players played a lot of minutes. It's been a long season for them as well. I'm not, you know, if you're making excuses, but it's a long season, exactly. And to reach the semi-finals again, it's a huge, huge achievement for them. And they're the best of the best. You're playing four teams are in the semi-final, the best in the Champions League, but at the end of it, it comes down to fine margins.
Yeah, and I think perhaps Lyon just managed the disruption in the game a bit better. You know,
that's a really good point.
Leon mentioned
that psychology can play a part in the players.
Absolutely, because Leon Williamson mentioned that maybe it was a bit stop-start, which didn't allow them to build that connection and that rhythm in their play that they used to, and dominating possession. And Lyon suddenly kind of handled that better from a psychological perspective, and perhaps that's some of the learnings, is that in moments of pressure, when the momentum swings and you're not in control, how can you find it again? How can you regroup? What is the key thing that you need to focus on to get yourself back into the game?
We paid a lot of credit, rightfully so, to Renee Sagers, and I know we're all big fans of the work that she's doing at Arsenal. She did such a good job to turn it around in the second half last week, and it looked like on 75 minutes that she was going to be doing the same today. What did you make of her tactical approach when she reflects upon it? Was there anything that she wishes she's done differently?
I think maybe just that first half, to be honest. Obviously, for her players, those are the ones that she's got available. It was a disappointment, obviously, not to see Chloe Kelly. Maybe she's not fit enough. But yeah, the players that she obviously had has given everything to her. Holmberg, I thought, made a big difference. But then you've got, obviously, Caldente that didn't make real much impact. So you're having to switch and change, which obviously changes the dynamics of your midfield as well. I think, she'll be delighted in the sense of her players giving everything for the club and what the club are about. But a disappointment of how Lyon were able to impose themselves, in particular in that first half, because 45 minutes is a long time, and then to have to turn that round in the second half be a huge disappointment.
Let's see how accurate your prediction of Renee Sagers' thoughts are. Now she's a joke.
Renee, I think it's quite hard to even know where to begin with that game, but essentially, where do you think it got away from you?
I think Lyon raised their levels today. I felt they came out really strong. They have Bacha and Dumone back in the team, who are world-class players. So they did really well. I think they were really effective in certain moments. But still, it was a very tight game. It's small margins. It's a semi-final Champions League. We scored a 2-1, and it's even. And it was tight. So yeah, very disappointing for us, of course.
Leah's just come out and said sometimes you have to be humble and recognise when you're beaten by a better side. Did Lyon deserve it today?
Yeah, today I think they were the better team, and I think across two legs, there's two really good teams with different styles of football that have gone against each other, but they were really good today. Yeah.
For you personally, to lead the team to a final and then follow up with a semi-final, there's been an awful lot of pride from you, despite being disappointed at this point.
It's hard to say at the moment. It's mostly disappointment because we were so close, and we all believed we could do it, even though we went through really hard times today. So then when the 3-1 came, that was really tough. So at the moment, very disappointed.
I understand it's a very emotional dressing room right now. How is everybody?
Don't know. I just spoke to a couple of players on the pitch, and I just said to them, I feel gutted because you're so humble and you work so hard, and I wish for you all to go to a final, but unfortunately this is football and they were good today. So a lot of disappointment in the changing room.
Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and admittance and acceptance then from Renee Sagers and all of her players really, Anita, that sometimes you just have to hold your hands up. How hard is that as a footballer though, to go back into a dressing room, because 90 minutes or a bit more than 90 minutes ago now, they felt they were ahead. They were 90 minutes away from the final.
Yeah, I think that's really tough for the players, because you can't falter their endeavour, their commitment to try to stay in this tie. But, at 2-1, they're still in it, even not at their best. And I think that really is the difference, is that Lyon just raised their levels to such a level that you just have to take your hat off to them.
Okay, well, let's hear from one of the Lyon players who raised her levels. She didn't get on the score sheet, her goal was disallowed, but she won't care. Lindsay Heaps and Joe Curry.
Well, Lindsay, we spoke to you at the end of the first leg. I feel like it's a very different emotion from you today.
Yeah, I was probably pouting a little bit the last time, but very, very happy. So proud of the team for qualifying for the final and everything that we did today. There was just so many emotions, so many ebbs and flows of the game, but we came out and we played like Lyon. from the get-go, and no matter what was happening during the game, the PK called back, goal called back, things like this, we kept going, and we ended up winning like that. I'm so proud.
I suspect apart from your disallowed goal, you're a big fan of VAR tonight.
Yeah, I am, but also it's just the right call. So.
The fact that you lost to Arsenal in the semi-final here last year, how much has that pushed you on today to get better than 1 year later?
Yeah, I think I said this before, but that was kind of always inside of us, especially that's the way we went out the last year. But I think this was a new year, new team, so many different players, and the mentality of this group and how we came out and played. We knew we were going to get the job done. We knew we were going to give everything possible to go play in that final, and that's what we did.
The fact for you personally, you said this will be your last year at the club, does it mean that little bit more to reach the final, have that chance of getting your hands back on that trophy?
Yeah, it's a bit emotional in a way for me. I'm not gonna cry, but yeah, I've spent a lot of time at this club, and this trophy is, kind of a representation of this team, and everything that they've given, everything that the players before have given. So, the experience pushes forward, and this is a goal and dream of mine to get another Champions League trophy, but together, and the way that we just did it today.
Final.
Well, a 12th Champions League final appearance then for Lyon. It's set up nicely. We don't know, of course, who they're going to play, Barcelona or Bayern Munich, but Lyon will go in there feeling incredibly confident, I have to say.
Yeah, they will, because it's been 2 tough legs that they've had to play in, and they found a way back from being behind, so they know they can do that. But for, Lindsay Heath, it's, for her, being her final season at Lyon, it's even more special going into a final. So yeah, exactly that.
Arsenal 8 points off leaders Manchester City with 2 games in hand. They need City to drop points. They need to ensure that they don't let today stop what could be a very interesting UWCL season. Absolutely, yes, they'll be disappointed obviously this season, but I think they have to concentrate on the WSL and retaining obviously to stay in the Champions League next season as well. And of course they've got one of their rearranged games on Wednesday, which you can watch live across the BBC. That is them travelling to Brighton, but their Champions League hopes do come to an end tonight in Lyon. They have lost today, and they have lost on aggregate. It's the French side who march on to the final. They'll face either Barcelona or Bayern Munich on May the 23rd. We'll have that for you live across the BBC. Thanks, Ellen and Lisa, and we'll see you for the final. Bye-bye.